Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of my Kickstarter Diaries. Now, this is a really interesting episode because actually there hasn't been a lot of campaigns launched this week. I don't think any of them wanted to be in the same week as the US election, which makes total sense. And I don't want to talk about the election, but what I do want to talk about is some things that have been happening on our channel this week. Welcome to all of the new subscribers. We had some great things happen this week. We were featured as the video of the week in BGG's Geek Weekly, which obviously drove a lot of traffic to our site and some new faces and new friends to talk to, which has been amazing. The other thing that happened this week was Maggie and I had our first live play or live stream on the Dice Tower, which was super exciting with our Melbourne-based friends, Meeple University and Ludo Cherry. And then just this morning, Rodney from Watch It Played shared one of our videos and recommended our channel on Twitter. And, we've learnt so many games from him. So that was truly special to us as well. So there's been a lot happening, but why I'm saying all of this is because there are probably a lot of people that are hitting this video for the first time, their first Kickstarter Diaries. And I just wanted to say, firstly, welcome. Secondly, a bit about this video series is this is really my happy place. This is where I get to come and talk about all the research that I've been doing on Kickstarter games. Those who have been with us since the beginning will know that I back a lot of games, probably 3 or 4 every week. Which is not only expensive, but it also takes a lot of time to kind of read about games, to keep up to date with what's happening. And this is my place where I can share that with you. And, I love hearing about what you're backing too, because it makes me feel a little bit better that I'm not the only one addicted to Kickstarter games. So this week is going to be short and sweet. So let's get straight into it. So the first game that I want to talk about this week is Pachacuna. And Pachacuna is one that I just want to straight away say that I haven't backed, but I'm immensely impressed by the quality of this game or how this game appears. So the game itself is based in Bolivia, and you can see that they've included the handiwork of Bolivian people, which I believe they're sourcing from Bolivia in these bags, as well as some little plushy llamas, which is super cute. But the game itself, the art is beautiful, but also the board is really cool. And I want to show you the board. So the board here, I should say, this is a 2-player game and a 2-player game only. And it's a race in order to be the first one to collect seven different resources, or the 7 different types of resources. And you are playing either as the black llamas or the white llamas. And the black llamas can travel across the board on the mountains, these black parts of the tiles here. And the white llamas can travel along the valleys or the green parts of the board here, fields or valleys. I'm not sure what the technical term is for them there. But what you're doing on your turn is you're essentially just picking up one of these double layered tiles, which are beautiful because the mountains actually sit above the fields, which is really cool. You're picking it up and you're turning it and you're placing it back down in order to help you create a path to get to each one of these little stations around the outside of the board to help you exchange resources to ultimately get those 7 resources and be the first one to do so. The reason why I haven't backed this game, even though I was quite interested going in, is that when I watched a playthrough, it does feel a little bit family weight or light for Maggie and I, because the mechanics that sit underneath it are basically pick up and deliver with a little bit of kind of network planning, and the extent of the take that or the tenseness really comes down to mainly the race itself, but also turning those path tiles, which could then, disrupt the other player. But it feels like there's enough opportunity to kind of work around that. And so this to me feels like a more comfortable game that you could play with all ages. So, younger children and adults alike, I feel could really get into this and get behind the strategy of this. For Maggie and I, it just doesn't feel tense enough, which when we play just one-on-one, we like a really good competitive tense game rather than a more relaxing experience, which I feel this would be. And I So even though I'm not backing it, I 100% think this will do really well. And if, you're looking for a two-player experience that perhaps, is a bit more relaxed or a little bit more light to get other people into gaming, this is certainly going to look beautiful on the table and has a theme that really resonates with me. Even though I'm not that into theme, they've done a great job here. The next game that I want to talk about this week is Atlantis Rising. And Atlantis, well, actually not Atlantis Rising, the base game, but the expansion for Atlantis Rising Monstrosities. And this has been hotly anticipated because Atlantis Rising is a very well-loved cooperative game. Maggie and I have not played Atlantis Rising because we tend to steer clear of cooperative games in general. But because this one has had such amazing reviews, there are a lot of people that love this game. Maggie and we've picked up the player mat, strangely, and we are yet to actually pick up the base game. And so I was very keen to see what the bundle would look like this week. I haven't purchased it, and the only reason being is really because I'm trying not to buy expansions before purchasing the base game. That's probably a pretty good rule for me to help minimize all of my spending. But the second thing is that Atlantis Rising, the base game, is pretty well available in Australia. And so I was thinking I'd actually like to get it quicker and get our playmat out onto the table. So that's why I haven't backed it, but I did want to talk about it because I know a lot of you will be considering this. I think that what it does add is really interesting. It adds monsters into the game, some magic items, some other little kind of bits and pieces. I think there's 5 different components, mechanics that it adds into the game. And the original base game doesn't actually include monsters. So I think it's interesting that this is actually not just a mechanics edition, but also a thematic edition. And, Maggie and I tend to steer we're kind of like less favorable towards fantasy style themes, but if you're into that and you've got Atlantis Rising, the base game, or you're interested in it, this could certainly be a great expansion to pick up. But after talking about those 2 games this week, they were the only really 2 big notable releases of the week. And so they were the 2 that I anticipated, but I haven't backed either of them, which means for the first time, perhaps this year, I have not backed anything this week. So all it took was no one to launch anything, and it allowed me to have a bit of a reprieve on the wallet. I also will say that next week looks to be a little light on as well. And so we might be seeing kind of the tail end of campaigns of 2020. But I do want to talk about one game that is launching next week. Next week, you will see the launch of The Pursuit of Happiness Big Box. Now, this is a worker placement game that is a little bit older, that Maggie and I just haven't had an opportunity to check out, even though we love worker placement games and the theme of this really appeals to us. So the first thing I want to say is that if you've played The Pursuit of Happiness and you kind of have a feel for what Maggie and I would like, please let us know what your experience of it has been and whether you think we will enjoy it. But next week, I'm really keen to check out the big box, which includes all of the materials from the game that have been released so far, but then also this little nostalgia pack, which includes some deluxe components for the game, which I'm all about. Love those deluxe components. But I actually wanted to bring this up because if this is something you are interested in, then maybe hit the notification button on their website. I'll post all the links as usual in the description, because if you pledge within the first 72 hours of this campaign, you'll get a free holiday pack. And so that's just 20 new unique cards that you can include around the holiday seasons to kind of, bring that element into the game. And I love that. I love any little seasonal touches. I actually just recently picked up the Christmas tiles for Feast for Odin, and I'm super excited to play with those this Christmas. So, I think it's worth it if you're planning on backing this anyway to check out in the first 72 hours to maybe get your hands on that bonus. But there you have it. As I mentioned, short week this week. for Kickstarter. We'll see what happens next week, but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who regularly watches this series. You know, I know that our channel is still very small with a few subscribers, but those who have been on our channel have been super engaged, and we're so appreciative of all your feedback and also all of your conversations with us. We really, really enjoy it. Being, you know, having been in lockdown this year in Australia, no less, we often feel quite far away from the board game community, and you know, it's all of these conversations that really make us feel like we have this huge network of friends who share our love for gaming. So thank you very much. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back next week, probably spending more money. Bye for now.